You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Carrie Diaries After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Carrie Diaries After Show.
What is up, Carrie Diaries fans? We are bringing you another after show for the Carrie Diaries. I'm so happy to be back with you guys.
Yay!
Welcome
back.
This episode is called Express Yourself, which is really the big topic of this episode. Communication is key for all the characters. But before we dive into that, I'm Danica Kennedy, and joining me today is...
Hi, I'm Anik Dufour. Hey guys, I'm Annika Michelle.
Well, let's kick it off talking about Tom and Deb. We got to get the parents' discussion out of the way first.
Let's get
the slower part of the show.
Get it done with.
I mean, they're still fun.
Right.
But let's just talk about that first. So Tom and Deb have been dating, and it was kind of a slow start to their relationship because Tom wasn't sure about introducing a new woman into the family with his children, but his kids are off doing their own things now, and they have their own boys, so I think it's finally time. But she's a little OCD about the dishes having to be done before hitting the sheets. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, well, I would be too. I mean, that was just gross.
Oh, the
like it's one thing
on
to
the
have.
dishes.
It's one thing to have just like a dirty bowl with like cereal or something. But there was like gunk in there. There was like cheese
Coming out,
oozing out everywhere. It was gross, and I probably would have done the same thing.
and I love how she was like, well, if you help me, we can get right back to this faster. And he's like, hell yeah, because what guy is like gonna say no to that if they know they're gonna get some action after the dishes?
Yeah,
and they handled it a good way too, because she addressed the issue that was bugging her straight up front, unlike what Carrie does ever.
Right.
Really.
Right.
I mean, does she ever address her
No.
issues?
Never.
What do you guys think of Tom and Deb together?
I think they're cute. And then I, for some reason, thought that they had broken up, or not really broken up, but kind of like taken like a little break.
I feel like
Last
they kind of did
season?
at the end of last season.
Right.
They held off, but I think now that Carrie's off doing her own thing in the city, maybe they rekindled. I don't really. Can you guys refresh my memory how they ended on last season?
I think it was he called and was like, you know, it's hard because my daughter's blah blah blah. Like, this is what I remember. At least maybe I'm wrong. You guys can help us out. But he was like, my daughter's like Dorrit was the one who was having issues, not really Carrie or whatever. But then she had a kid, and she was having issues because the kid was like walked in on them in the bedroom. Remember, like he spent the night that one time, and then she was like, I don't know if I could do this. It's too soon. Blah blah. Maybe we should take a break. And it kind of just ended like that.
And then all of a sudden they're like
back.
But now Dorrit has her own relationship and has moved on, so I think it's kind of safe territory for her to go into now. What did you guys think about having pictures of the dead wife out? That
sounds so
kind
horrible,
of
the dead
weird?
wife.
Like, I mean, it is horrible. His wife did die.
I mean, yeah.
Would you, okay, if you were dating someone and their girlfriend passed away, would it be weird if their pictures were up all over the place, or would you not mind?
A girlfriend or wife?
Yeah, wife, I guess, in this situation.
I don't know if I would mind.
I don't think
so
I'd
much
mind.
because I mean it's like she's
gone.
Yeah.
I don't think I would either. If it was a breakup, then I would be really annoyed.
Right.
But if they passed away, I wouldn't mind because that's out of their control.
Right.
My only concern would be, well, what if that person is still pining over, you know? I mean, get it, you're always going to love that person. I get that, but like it's like to me I'm thinking, well, you know, are you okay to move on, or am I just, you know, being like, you know, a replacement type of thing? That
like
would
a
kind
rebound.
of, yeah, that would kind of like
I feel like he is over it, though. I feel like it's been
Yeah, it's
enough
been a while.
time.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, though, with their relationship, if any extra baggage or
Like,
if
comes
those
up.
issues come up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, before we dive into our next topic, I just wanted to bring up iTunes. You should definitely check out the Carrie Diaries on iTunes. Subscribe to our podcast, leave some comments, especially because we haven't been on for a while. We're back for this new season, excited. And we're fans of the show. We wanted to do a good job as well as our after show. So please subscribe, comment, and check out Serial Buddies. We've been talking about it for a while now. Be sure to download it. It's a hilarious movie brought to you by the people that run AfterBuzz here. So do it.
Sure,
won't
check it
regret
out. You guys will love it.
But let's dive into our next topic now. Walt and Bennet. Somebody's legal this episode. Finally.
Yay.
So much built up sexual tension with the two of them. And it's Walt's birthday this episode. That's the main premise. And he is ready to jump on Bennet. He is so down. Bennett's been dating other guys around the city, and he's used to being gay publicly.
Right,
So
right.
he's been having fun. But the whole dilemma, I guess, in this episode is that Carrie is trying to plan Walt's birthday, and she wants to be a good friend and set him up with Bennet, and she kind of just screws up and just tells Bennet, like, oh, I have tickets to this VIP thing that you just happen to have tickets to because I want to be there. And luckily, Samantha saves her and gets her the VIP tickets and hooks it up. So she got lucky
She did.
for that part. But she also double booked herself, and she had an interview for the new school, which is Parsons for nowadays in New York City. And she got really sick. It just turned out to be a disaster because she didn't communicate properly. She could have just been honest with Walt and said, hey, I have an interview.
Yeah.
And kind of give the full scoop about what her plan was.
But that's kind of Carrie. That's a kind of like a Carrie thing. She always does that.
She always does
You would
it.
think she would have learned her lesson
By
you know,
now.
but no.
And every time we see her do those things, it's like, what are you thinking, Carrie?
But I really
Every
don't know
time
why
does
she didn't
it.
want to tell him. Like, I don't understand that. Was she, like, did not want to just say, oh, I didn't get it, maybe? Like, she didn't want to keep telling people bad news, like, after, like, oh, my God, I'm so excited. And, like, oh, no, I didn't get it. But then, like, it's, like, your best friend, you're living with him. I figured maybe you tell him, but
She
don't
really
know.
lucked out with the VIP ticket thing, though, because she was just casually talking to Bennet in the office
yeah.
about planning a birthday, and Bennett's like, oh, I have plans Saturday. I'm going to this concert. It was the Z100 Music Fest. And
Yeah.
she was like, oh, me too. I have tickets. Lie.
Right.
Oh, I'll meet you in the VIP section. Sure, because that's where my tickets are. Didn't work out that way.
No.
But then Samantha, of course, just happens to be friends with, like, Howard Stern and got free tickets.
Of course. Why wouldn't
Miss
she
Phone
be?
Sex Operator.
Yeah. While she's doing the Jane Fonda, no, what was it?
Yeah,
The
Jane
Jane
Fonda,
Fonda, like,
yeah.
butt exercises and, like, breathing hard because of the butt exercises. She's, like, you know, phone sex operating, making $8 a minute. So
I wasn't here last week, but I want to talk about Samantha character being introduced. What are your
Yes.
opinions about her playing Samantha and her character?
I love her. I love Samantha in Sex and the City.
She's
and
my
her-
favorite character.
Yeah.
So I was really nerdy excited when they brought this character on the show.
Yeah. I want to know, and it's interesting to see how she gets into PR. Is kind of like how I want to know. Because, I mean, you all know, like, in Sex and the City, Samantha's huge. She's, like, a huge PR publicist. And I just want to see how she gets from being, like, a bartender to being, like, a phone sex operator to getting to be, you know, a publicist.
Me too. I mean, she does have good work ethic, which I have to say.
yeah.
It's hilarious that when she does the phone sex operating stuff with Mouse, because Mouse is so awkward.
Yeah.
And
And
she's
so, like,
awkward anyway.
so yeah, and
So
so just
awkward.
like, I don't know if innocent's the word, but like unexperienced, maybe
She's like naive,
inexperienced.
doesn't
yeah.
know what she's doing at all in the bedroom, obviously.
I love how Wes is like, isn't it hot in the dorm room? What are you wearing? And she's like, some sweatpants that say Columbia on the side. It's like, no, that's not what he wanted to hear.
And then she's like, my roommate's here, and she hangs up on
Yeah.
him.
And her roommate was like the most like probably like nerdy looking like girl who's like studying like AP chemistry on a Friday night, like her head in the books. I'm like, oh God, this is great. Great roommate situation there.
Then fast forward later when she sees Samantha on the phone doing her sex operating things, and Samantha hands her the phone and is like, oh, try it.
Yeah.
You just have to talk about how you have a hot, big, whatever, and like moan, and it'll be fine. And it was painful watching that.
She's like, you want me to do what?
Yeah, and
you want me to do what? I know. Well, it takes a while to get used to, I guess.
Because Danica would know. 1-800? No,
1-800. It's where you call in here at AFTERBUZZ. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that type of
All
show,
of a sudden
guys.
the show's
Not
the
that
phone
type of
start
show.
ringing. But anyways, while we're on that lovely subject, I have to say this is totally random. I was telling the girls earlier, I've noticed some things, especially with Carrie this episode, that I'm sure that maybe you guys did notice, maybe you didn't. There was some continuity issues, which were kind of fun to catch in this episode with Carrie. Like when I always want to call him Austin. When Sebastian like rang the doorbell, like her hair's down. She has no hair scrunchie in sight, people, from where she's standing to where the door is. And next thing you know, she opens, like she walks to the door and her hair's up and it's like down. And I'm like, wait, your hands are never touching your hair. We all know you have a hairstylist on set, but like this is not adding up. And two, when she was interviewing at that for the job, like her nail polish color was purple when she was like telling the lady like, oh, I'm a good writer, and she like went like this and her nail polish, because I looked and I was like, oh my God, that's such a cute color, I want it. And it was purple, and then when she's like back to throwing up and back at the concert, it's like green. I'm like, oh, that's funny because this is supposed to be the same day.
It's to be in style. The green had to match the
Yeah,
throw up.
exactly. Exactly.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed the continuity errors, because I felt like such a film nerd when I noticed things like that. But I noticed in the first episode of this season, there's this one part where you see the barcode on the bottom of a glass that they're drinking out of, like obviously a prop. And I was like, oh, someone didn't catch that in editing. But I'm glad you guys noticed that too. I'm not alone.
And one more thing, Sebastian's dad, why is he wearing the same shirt when he can afford like multi-million-dollar cars on 2 separate days? Same. I mean, I'm sure wardrobe department is huge. We all see what Carrie and everybody wears, but they give this guy like the same shirt for 2 totally different days, and I just needed to say that. Anyways.
Speaking about wardrobe, though, I noticed this. It sounds like we're ragging on the show. It's not meant to be this way. But I noticed that the clothes this season seem a little bit more nowadays than 80s.
Trendier.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a mix between 80s and, like, Forever 21 H&M stuff, whereas last season I felt like it was more, like, thrift store 80s clothes.
Yeah.
Which I like the throwback of the 80s, but I could see why they wouldn't do that, because they are trying to get that CW target audience where they want it to be hip and cool, and
they want the kids to follow the fashion like they do in Gossip Girl and all those shows.
At the same time, though, they have to understand that it is an 80s show.
Yeah.
So I think that the wardrobe last season worked better than it is this season so far.
Exactly. And that's the thing about the show. It's such a weird target audience because it's geared towards like that teen kind of age, but it's also towards people that grew up in the 80s that watch Sex and the City. So it kind of, I feel like they're trying to hit both audiences, and they're doing a good job for the most part. Mm-hmm. But back on topic, we should talk about, I was talking about how they need to express themselves, and communication is key. Well, one of the communication issues was about how Carrie would not tell Samantha that she had to move out of Larissa's apartment.
Yes.
And I don't think Larissa would be that mad if she came home and Samantha was hanging out there. She's really chill, laid back, world traveler. I feel like Larissa and Samantha would either be best friends of the world or worst enemies because they're so much alike.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Larissa's coming back soon, so yay, her character is
I'm
back.
hoping like next episode.
I'm hoping too. And I want Dorrit back.
Yeah, she was back last week. She wasn't back this week. So
with less makeup.
Yes. Well,
except for the end.
Yeah, except for the end. Then she rebelled.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As usual.
Being Dorrit. But
Well, let's talk about Sebastian and that hot car he got. Speaking of how his dad was wearing the same outfit all the time. They got the 1955 Porsche Spider.
Yes.
Badass car, by
Nice
the way.
car.
And Maggie knew what it was, too.
Yeah, which I think kind of like surprised him for a bit. And she was like, yeah, I have like 2 brothers, and like it wasn't a big deal.
Like,
But
oh, they actually do have things in common.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides Carrie.
And besides kissing, yeah.
I
See
like
them being a cute couple.
I kind of got
actually.
annoyed when he said, "Will you kiss me?" Well, it takes 2 to tango.
It does. And you didn't push
kiss
her
back.
off.
Exactly.
He was
Like, come
rude
on.
to her.
Yeah.
She
He
was
was. Just
she
saying
was
hi.
just babysitting, walking by, saying hi as he was fixing up the car, and she just said something like, "Oh, I bet you regret kissing me," and he was like, "Yeah, I do."
I was like, whoa,
rude.
calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
Even
I
if
didn't
you think
enjoy it
that you don't
either,
say
crazy.
that. Obviously, it ruined both of their friendships because neither of them were invited to the birthday party, which meant that they didn't get food poisoning from the quiche that Mouse made, even though everyone thought it was the caviar that Samantha bought off a sketchy truck.
Russian guy.
Russian
The back of a
Russian
van.
And Coney Island.
Never buy fish off the back of a truck, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, the Rolex watches, I understand, but
Rolex,
caviar?
Rolex.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You guys, I had
Nasty.
food poisoning on Sunday, and I wasn't far from what they look like. It was a mess. It's the worst feeling. I don't know if anyone else has had it, but it
Yeah,
sucks.
Food poisoning is the worst.
Oh my gosh.
There was too much throwing up in this episode. Watching it, I was like, I'm going to get food poisoning from watching this. They're throwing up too much.
And it's so true because they're like, don't talk about food. It's like that's how it is when you're in that moment. You're like, I don't want to hear food. Don't tell me about it. Like,
Oh, when they're
I
listing,
don't wanna- yeah.
they're talking about different alcohols. That's like the
just
last
stop.
thing you
Yeah.
think
You know,
of.
don't talk about anything like edible or drinkable. Just stop. Yeah.
I love how when they were sick, when Samantha was taking care of them, she slapped Donna LaDonna and she just slapped her across the face. And Donna was like, "You just slapped me." And she's like, "Well, it needed to be done. You needed to
Yeah.
be slapped," which she needs to be slapped more often because she can get pretty annoying.
She can.
But I love her. She's one of my favorites.
She's a good character. She brings some craziness to the show.
You can tell that
Definitely.
her and Samantha are like related.
You can
That's
or
funny.
can't.
You can.
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 Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was I speaking
No.
another language? You can.
They're
Just
they're
kidding.
very similar, but they could butt heads, I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
I feel, yeah, definitely.
Do you guys have anything else to add about this episode? Did I miss anything?
I like that Walt and Bennet finally kissed.
Finally.
Yeah.
It wasn't as passionate as I wanted it to be, but I guess it's the first time they're not gonna like. I don't know. Maybe I thought they'd like go crazy, but they really didn't. It was like a cute little.
I think Walt maybe wanted to go crazy on Bennet, but it had to be a two-sided thing.
Right.
I don't like how Bennett is like, oh, well, I kind of just like want to keep it casual. It's like, well, then you know what? Not interested.
Worth it.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
I think Walt's really invested because he hasn't been out yet, and it's like his
His
Yeah.
first big love and crush. And whenever it's your first, you get so emotionally invested because you don't know what's out there and you don't know any better, and you're so vulnerable. And I think that Bennett's kind of been around and in the dating scene for
He's
a
done
while,
it,
and
so
he's
it's not a
not
big deal.
taking it as seriously.
It's true.
I think Walt could get his heart broken though that way.
I
But
do too.
I guess we should slip into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, so in the teaser for next week, it looks like Carrie and Sebastian hook up or something with that rekindles. I'm assuming that they're going to get back together for a while, but we know it turns into Sex in the City, so it's not going to be forever. I hope that Walt and Bennet date, but I could definitely see Walt getting heartbroken by Bennet.
Yeah, I definitely see him getting his heart broken. Definitely. I don't know. I want to see more of Mouse and Wes together. I think they're really cute. And I think that like the kind of had a prediction last week. I think that the whole like Maggie and Carrie and Samantha. I think that Maggie might start getting jealous over Carrie and Samantha's like relationship. Be like, oh, you kind of like replaced me, even though they're not really talking right now. You know, I think they're gonna start again, and just that's not gonna like work out.
Replacement best friend.
Yeah.
I think, well, obviously, what's her name is coming back?
Larissa.
Larissa's coming back. And I hope it's next episode. I didn't see the teaser, but I hope it's the next episode. And I think she's going to like stay and it's going to be more of a party house and more, chaos, because I don't think Samantha's going to be gone when she comes. And I think, obviously with 4 people there, it's going to be more fun. And I don't think Larissa's coming home alone. So who knows who or what she's bringing back to that apartment. But it's going to turn into some fun times and more adventures. And
I hope so.
I can't wait to see it.
I love the episodes when they go out and party in New York City with Larissa. So I hope that there's more of that
I
in
do
store.
too. Yes. I want to go party with Larissa in New York. I mean, who doesn't?
Me too.
Seriously.
Speaking of which, I'm going to New York next week, and I plan to party it up like Larissa.
Larissa, if you're in New York, call up Danica.
Yeah, call up me. I know you're in the 80s and not existent in real life, but call me up.
It's okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning into our show.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Danica Kennedy. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Danica Kennedy.
And I'm Anik Dufour. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Anik Dufour. My website, anikdufour.com.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all those wonderful things. Twitter at Annika_Michelle. My website, AnikaMichelle.com.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.